Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of the Rewatch Podcast, presented by the Terrible Video Gamers Club. I'm your host, Tyler Schatz, out here shutting down the streets of Miami to allow for some hot podcasting action. Joining me this fine recording session is one Stephen Howard.
Going plaid!
Amanda Howard.
Who does not do the stare and drive on you, but...
Solid. One Nick Castile.
My pockets ain't empty, cuz.
One Josh Cox.
Only my homeboys call me Josh Pig.
And last, but never ever least, one Gary Delaney.
Tyler may disagree, but this movie comes in at number 1 in his movie collection because it starts with the number 2. So alphabetically, this movie is Too Fast, Too Furious is right before 3:10 to Yuma and 8th Mile.
8th Mile too, huh? Not 8 Mile.
Live my life an 8th mile at a time.
8th of a mile at a time.
That's how I spelled it. Like that. You know what? I probably had the picture of the cover up, and I still spelled it in my notes. 8th Mile.
8th Mile.
Hard life on the 8th mile out there. All right.
Yeah. You have to know that it's actually called 8 Mile Road. I figure like that's what. Anyway, things that don't matter.
Things that don't matter.
It's not that
to this
important in that
podcast
movie.
here.
Yeah.
Much like Too Fast, Too Furious.
Yeah, also true.
Earn.
So as JC called out here, we are here to discuss our time watching Too Fast, Too Furious. And IMDb.
Are you going to start singing a song now?
I am not
Fast, Furious.
I am not ludicrous, so I both the singer and the insanity. I am not that. So according to IMDb, former cop Brian O'Connor is called upon to bust a dangerous criminal, and he recruits the help of a former childhood friend and street racer who has a chance to redeem himself. Oh, what a thing here. Directed by one John Singleton, who we just actually found out had passed away in 2019. He had directed, though, other big movies such as Boys in the Hood, which is a decent movie. I don't think I've ever actually seen it all the way through. The movie Shaft with Samuel L. Jackson, and Four Brothers with Mark Wahlberg, which Gary thinks I hate, but I don't, because Gary...
Shaft.
Tyler hates everything I love.
Isn't Tyrese also in that?
Tyrese is also in that.
Tyrese
He's
is in that one.
just as good in that movie.
Shaft, I hear he's a bad mother trucker. So,
Boo.
Shut your mouth.
I'm going to start us off real quick. Let's talk about Shaft. I've never even seen Shaft, but to start us off real quick, can I ask you guys a question?
No,
Why
absolutely
the
not.
F are every single one of these movies so damn dark? It
Why is the
feels
what?
Like,
why are the movies so dark?
like photography
like
dark, or
Photography.
just...
Yeah,
Videography.
photography dark. It feels like what Amanda made the comment when we watched the first movie that it feels like we were watching the episode of Winterfell, the Siege of Winterfell, with how dark it was. And we had to shut every single window. I'm like, I mean, it was the first movie, whatever, that's whatever. And then this it was the same on this one until they're in like the bright lights of Miami. Like you can't see shit. So
The only
Tyler.
off-the-cuff reason I would even give is because for this one, they have to show off all the sick underglow and stuff like that from the cars.
You said dark, and I was trying to think of the scene. Like the first scene when they're street racing at night. Yeah, it's a little dark in town, but I don't know. In my mind, the word jumped out as saturated. Like, is it just the way it's shot with like a certain tone over it, or just you think it's dark overall?
it just felt like it was dark. It felt like I needed to close the blinds and turn off every light, close every blind in my, the room that I watch it in, to actually see stuff on the TV screen. It's just not bright.
I
Are
can
you
get
sure you
behind
don't
the
just need a TV with better contrast? Like,
I have a
Okay,
really
I can
goddamn good
confirm.
monitor, thank you.
I can confirm that I did make that comment when we were watching the first one. So to be fair, we were watching it in broad daylight, lots of lights streaming in, and I completely forgot I made that comment because this time we watched it separately and I watched it in the dark and I had no problem seeing it. So I could totally see that we were
It is-
definitely having trouble before.
It is a cinematic movie experience. This is not daytime watching.
Oh, it's getting
Sorry,
thick already.
Gary,
Fair enough.
nobody told me that.
It was my own fault, honestly. I shouldn't have watched it during the day. That was my own fault.
Yes,
The
we
first
we,
one, it
we
definitely has
should have
one-night
watched it
stands.
as a cinematic movie experience.
Oh man. Coming back to theaters, watch it in IMAX. Too Fast, Too Furious.
Too much of a waste of your money.
Ooh.
Burn.
Speaking of it being cinematic, is that the director chose to in the opening show the Universal logo completely in chrome, and of course they have like air wrench sounds, like you're taking off lug nuts.
Yep.
So and like it's kind of bouncing like you're in a hip hop video. So I was like, that's an interesting choice, trying to set some tone. I thought it was. Obviously, everyone else like doesn't enjoy the vibe of this movie. For me, it's just like totally sets the mood of the time and the place. Nick, did you have a comment?
I was gonna say I agree with you that it's a little bit of the time that this movie was shot back in the early 2000s. Like it has the little like race car sounds and like neon lights that flash through when it says Too Fast, Too Furious as well. And so it's definitely an intentional choice, and it doesn't date well. But yeah, if you just kind of go along with it, it's not terrible. I'm somewhere in like the bottom 3/4 for this movie. I don't think it's a cinematic masterpiece with Gary, but I also don't think it's the worst thing that I've ever laid eyes on.
Well,
Yeah, I would say it doesn't look terrible, I don't think, but it does somehow to me feel more dated than the first movie. Like there are scenes with like very, very CG cars racing each other where it was like there's clearly CG car moments in the first one where your camera going inside the car and things like that, but it's not just straight up two little CG matchbox cars going back and forth as if that's supposed to be dramatic.
Honestly, I thought the vibe I was getting from you guys was that this was not going to be a good movie. I think Gary was the exception. And I don't know. With that, I had tempered my expectations substantially. I actually did enjoy the movie, and I think I was expecting like a really terrible movie. And I was sitting there just even being like, that's not really that bad. Like, yeah, I mean, because I didn't expect an A movie, I was ready for it. It was okay. But then I was sitting there, I was like, I don't know, what's the scale? Like, what do you guys consider on an A through F scale? What do you consider this movie? And like, what's something in that same range so I know where you're comparing it to?
I said I
That's a
felt like they
solid
were all
question.
C movies. These were all C movies.
Yeah, he rated both this one and the first one as a C movie.
I don't think we've
Like, he
ever shied away
considers them
from the
pretty
fact
equal.
that these are definitely not A-tier movies
No.
yet.
These are not A tier
I will-
movies.
Yeah.
I enjoy this movie. Not A tier. Not. It's not even summer blockbuster. It is. It is
This
what
one-
it is. I
Yeah,
would say.
this one is not a summer blockbuster.
And that, so
Do you have that pulled up to say like
See,
while we're talking? How
yeah.
well it did
plus
open?
maybe.
Yep.
I don't think it's a genre film. It's in a specific genre. It's not for everyone. I would not bring my mother to this movie, but it's still good for what it tries to do. Okay,
I will
so
say,
JC,
real quick, just banking off of what Amanda said as well. So I did also come into this movie with my expectations seriously tempered, and before we get into everything, enjoy this movie so much more, realizing that it wasn't going to be an A-rated movie, like an A-list movie. Like,
I was curious about that.
guys, I was so hardcore thinking that first Fast and Furious was going to be an A-rated star movie. He's so much easier to watch this knowing that wasn't the case.
Oh yeah, I highly
thought-
recommend tempering your expectations because it made it so much more enjoyable.
I thought a couple times all last week here where we were talking about how you were just like, this is the movie that spawns 10 sequels. Let's go. And I was just like, that line stood up in my head from last time. It's like, oof. I don't think anybody expected 1, let alone 9 after that.
okay. So JC said he didn't like the CGI. Can you guys see the influence that made that scene, which is the director said he was taking a lot of influence from anime, Gran Turismo, and the cartoon Speed Racer.
Okay,
Really?
there was a reason in my intro I said they're going plaid. And that is because every time they do the speed up thing, the animations look like from Spaceballs when they go plaid everywhere.
Hyperspace.
The graphics in this just blow my mind about how bad they were and how bad the CG was. It was was not expecting great things. So it was just funny to me.
It's computer graphics that don't age well. Nick?
I'm gonna go back to Amanda's question.
Graphics don't age well.
She proposed a graded letter. I'm gonna give this a C plus, and we talk through the rest of this recording. Maybe that'll change, but I'm gonna say C plus. It's not garbage with expectations, but it does try. Like, it has moments that are like, oh, this is kind of just fun. Like, I think we threw out the line buddy cop movie at one point, and yeah, I'm going to say C plus for a couple different reasons. As we get through it, I might temper that a little bit, but that's what I'm thinking. For comparison, I would say probably like, maybe the Lethal Weapon movies, kind of in that C plus range for me. Like, they don't really age well. O.J. Simpson is in them.
No, what?
No,
You're thinking of the Naked Gun movie.
Naked Gun. You're thinking Naked Gun.
Naked Gun movie.
Lethal Weapon are
Lethal Weapon. Well, maybe the same kind of thing. Like, it knows what it's trying to be. It kind of pokes fun at itself a little bit, and overall, it's a genre very similar to what Gary said. Even
And going off of what Gary said as well, saying that, oh, it was just 2003 graphics. They didn't, and like, you can't expect that much. Obviously, we already know, Lord of the Rings came out before this. Also, during this year, in God's year of 2003, or whatever's year of 2003, all the pantheons of whatever you want, The Core came out, which had better graphics than this. Yes, it was a worse movie, better graphics.
Okay, stop, Steven. Name a better movie with computer graphics for racing in this era.
We need to get back to like what we're talking about here, because we are delving way too far off into the no man's land here. But to go back to just give everyone a frame of reference, so this movie had a budget estimated of about $76 million, already about double what the first one had. And then the opening weekend in the U.S. and Canada, it was $50 million, or $51 million roughly. Total gross in the U.S. and Canada is $127 million, worldwide $236 million. So it definitely made its money back, allegedly.
Okay. So now can I ask everyone, did they see anime references? Because everyone else in this podcast enjoys anime. I fucking hated it. And I actually, completely I completely washed over any reference to anime other than maybe, Suki's car. And maybe that made the movie better. Maybe anime makes this movie worse.
I would say, I could, if you wanted to tell me that the computer graphics are supposed to be anime style, I would maybe look back and reflection and say, okay, maybe the comparison that I thought whenever early on in the first street racing scene, there's a bunch of Dutch angles showing off the cars and the racers and stuff. And to me, the comparison was Battlefield Earth, where Roger Ebert reviewed the movie and said, the director Roger Christian of Battlefield Earth has learned from better films that directors sometimes tilt their cameras, but he has not learned why. And all of these Dutch angles of these cars are just set, they give you this weird sense of unease and perspective shifts, and it's what is going on here? We're just setting up a car race. We don't know any of these characters yet. Why are we going through these weird looks? And maybe it's because John Singleton had watched some anime that had a bunch of crazy angles as well. I don't know, but that was what I thought originally.
No anime. I didn't see any anime.
Okay. Also, the other things that was very early on in the director's commentary was that
you watch the director's commentary.
Huh?
Why would you watch the director's commentary?
Because I had to watch this movie twice because my notes didn't save. Do you feel like this movie is fan service? 100% fan service? Because if you listen to the director, that he pretty much all but says this movie is 100% fan service.
This movie was just made like to make money, right? That's all the
mean,
movie was.
Fan service in the sense that this one was definitely a little bit more car cultured focus there than the first one, because it's a lot of scenes about, the intro to the race. The whole first part is just the race and all the cars and stuff like that, showcasing them off. And then you have the second race there between the muscle cars and Brian and Tyrese, and then, Tyrese and Paul Walker.
Brian and Rome.
Roman.
Thank you. And then too, you have the car culture coming together at the end to give Brian and Roman that kind of way out there. So it's a little bit more of a showcasing of the car culture as a community coming together.
And yeah, I'd say that if your takeaway from the very first Fast and Furious movie was, man, the cars were the star of this show, then yes, this movie was entirely fan service. But
Yeah.
I think by certainly after this movie, they start to realize, oh, there's more that people were liking about that first movie than just the fast cars.
Because the director talked about how the 4 cars in the beginning that are probably the fanciest of all the cars, like Orange Julius, whatever her name is, Suki, and the third racer, all were very much like he went and found people in that community of street racers and asked them, well, what would you want to see? What kind of cars would you want in the movie? Like, so he went out and tried to ask that. Tyler mentioned American Muscle Cars. The director also said that American Muscle Cars are very much in the movie because audiences wanted to see American Muscle Cars. There's a subgroup of people who enjoy street racing that really want to see American Muscle Cars. So that's why those cars are in this movie.
Not to take us off topic, but that seems kind of painful that the guy just like asked people, hey, I want to see, you know what I should bring to these people? It's just give them what they want. The McDonald's.
Does that make sense why I call it fan services? Because he did say, like, there are people who enjoy muscle cars, so we thought we had to have muscle cars in this movie.
I guess, sorry, do you have some? Okay. I guess I would say, to me, I saw it more as a furtherance of Brian's character and just the muscle cars with a backdrop. I guess I didn't see it as fan service. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, maybe 50-50, but they keep alluding to Brian let this other person go, and that's why he's on the run. You could absolutely cut out those lines since Dom's not even mentioned in this movie otherwise, and he doesn't make an appearance, and you wouldn't even need to talk about a previous experience that Brian has had, and you could just have this be a standalone movie, not necessarily a sequel.
You don't have to see the first one at all.
Exactly. So I didn't see this more as fan service to the people who love the first movie, because I kind of felt like you could watch this one and think this was the first one, aside from the giant 2 in the title.
I think that gets to Tyler's point about how they realized the fan service is for the cars, right? It's not for the people. They didn't think that people liked
street racing.
Yeah, for street racing
culture.
So it got back on track, and they started caring about the people in apparently the third movie. I don't know. Well, I'll figure this out as we go. But they don't care about the people. The reason why they don't mention Dom is because they don't think Dom's important anymore. It's not because they're the fan service for anything else.
Yeah.
So to kind of get us back to the way the movie starts off with here is basically we get to see Ludacris, new rapper in the series here, with his big fucking afro, which he looks sweet with there for sure.
Afro.
Okay, so this is going to sound real stupid real quick. That was Ludacris?
That is Ludacris. His character name is Tej, but he's just Ludacris.
Yes.
You didn't know that? Even I knew that, Steven.
Steven, he has the title song for the movie, and it plays over the opening, and then I think, like, before the song is even over, he appears on screen. Paul Walker's in the music video.
I don't know what these people look like. They sing songs. He says, you might think this is Ludacris, but Tayo Cruz, tell me how you feel. And that is what I know about Ludacris. Because you may be the worst of the best, but you got to respect this honesty. But anyways, let's keep going.
There's I made a comment in the last recording for the first one. I just spaced his name. Ja Rule. Ja Rule is a driver in the first movie, and he sings like that title song from Fast and Furious. And then in this one, Ludacris is in it as a character, and he sings the title song. And Gary's 100% right. There's a part where like the background music is him singing that track. And it's just it's pretty funny. Also, I made a reference to it. It's a little tiny anecdote footnote. But you hear Ludacris singing a song called Area Codes in the background in Maya's bedroom in the first movie when she's doing homework, and Brian comes in with Dom. And so if you want to really meta this thing, Ludacris is singing in the background as Tej in the first movie.
Okay.
Conspiracy theory, Gary.
Yeah. I also feel that Ludacris as a rapper turned actor is at least a slightly more well-rounded character than Ja Rule was. Ja Rule just like
100%.
came in as a street racer, and he's
100%.
only known for Monica, and that's it. Like,
There's a few things Edwin knows, and what Edwin knows is it's not how you stand by your car; it's how you race your car.
Yeah. So yeah, it was with Ludacris starting off there. Basically, he's getting the street race ready, and then they're like, "We need a fourth guy." This random dude couldn't show up for whatever reason. He got put on the graveyard shift or something like that.
I had to work. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
So he calls up Brian, and we as the audience kind of, if you remember from the first one, you can kind of tell it's Brian that he calls and everything like that. Paul Walker's character shows up.
Was I the only one? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when he calls Brian, was I the only one that, because Brian wakes up and he opens up that thing and he's in a garage again, like a car garage. My first thought was, oh, he's still in the same car garage that he was in before, because it looks like the same damn car garage that he got that first job in. And I honestly started wondering, did they just like repurpose this car garage? As I realized later on, this is not the same place.
They could have possibly reused the set for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Made me think that he was still in California.
how much time had passed between the two movies? I know there's a. I didn't look up
I
what
think
the.
it's only a year between this one and the first one. Because
So
don't
they
they say
came out-
something about last year?
They came out pretty bad, but I meant like in real time. Did they come out?
Oh,
Oh.
sorry.
That was 2 years, 2001, 2003, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Yep.
2001, 2003. I was 11 and 13.
Such a youngin.
In middle school?
Middle school.
And so, like, when Brian gets to the event there, it seems like Brian's character has now kind of taken on the slight in this, like, street racing subculture. He's kind of like that Dom figure, this super great racer that everyone is just kind of nervous to be racing against there. And they kind of up the ante for the race, which I like. It's kind of just a movie trope there of like, we're going to up the ante to like X amount of dollars. And I just happen to be carrying X amount of dollars. So here you go.
Yeah, the guy who's worried about paying rent has
Yeah.
$2,000 on him.
No, 35
Like-
large. Come on. It's
That was
35 large.
$35,000.
Yeah.
I
It's not like, I don't
No,
think it's
yeah.
like 35 grand. I think it's like, isn't it like it's like 3,500?
Was it
I was
3,500?
trying
I
to
think that's
decide that the entire time. I was like, "There's no way someone." I was forced to assume it was 3,500 because I was like, "There's no way someone has $35,000 on them." Right?
was gonna say I get nervous with $100 on me. Like,
Right? I don't know. These people clearly live in a different world than I do.
if I have more than $100 on me, assume that something is wrong or someone's been kidnapped.
This was a different world back then. I could remember when I was back in this time frame holding so much cash on me with my middle school life.
Rolling up to the middle school lunch line with 35 large.
Damn right. 35 large.
35
Brenda,
cents.
give me the good.
Yeah. So get started there with the race. And Tej says he's got a big surprise for them in the race here, which we find out is these guys breaking into a bridge control area to raise the bridge at the end of the race there. Which
I didn't remember how much. Like, I assumed it was like a little, like maybe a car height. It's like over a bus height. with
Yeah.
the raise. I thought it was like a car height to have a little bit of a hop, like kind of video gamey, like. But no, it's an unreasonable amount of angle.
I took one look at that and went, these are 5-second cars, right? You invest like thousands and
10-second
thousands of
cars.
dollars in this thing, and you're just gonna fucking yeet it off a thing like my toddler yeets their NASCAR cars off
Orange.
fucking, like a thing. What are you doing?
Orange Julius just whips a Yui. Is like, I'm done.
Yeah, Orange Julius was the only one that was a fucking like smart guy there, because take one look and just go, nah.
And I will say he was the only one who's a smart guy there, because all of this illegal activity, like in the first movie, it happens away from everybody in just like this rundown part of town. This is happening right outside Luda's garage. Like,
Yeah.
they're breaking into this drawbridge and having illegal street races, and it's like, gee, I wonder who could be involved in this. I don't know.
It also made me think about your comment last time. This is supposed to be a 5-second race. Like,
10.
you owe me a 5-second
10.
car.
10
10 second,
second.
whatever. 5 second, 10
10.
second. This thing went on for a couple minutes. They're making turns. I'm watching this thing going, oh, I've done this in GTA before during some of these races. It goes on forever.
Part of the annoying cutscene that you guys hate was that the director wanted to defy expectation that it wasn't a straight line. So he wanted, that was some of said the race is divided into 3 parts. And so at the beginning, it's acceleration. So you look in their eyes, and in the middle, it's about taking control. Yeah, he had a whole thing.
Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, yeah.
Yeah, of the race.
Have you ever met someone who really, really badly wants to write like an absolute epic? He wants to write Dante's Divine Comedy and then comes out with a comic book. This is what this feels like right now.
Except for Steven, this guy convinced a studio to give him 70 million?
26, I think you said.
$76 million on a movie that made 50 million on the opening weekend. So
makes us wonder
I'm
what we're
pretty
doing with our
sure
lives.
that he does not worry about your criticism.
No,
Rest
because
in
he's dead.
peace.
Steven,
He is.
it's
Ouch.
fine because the movie lives in Gary's heart.
True.
I should back up here too. Before the race starts, we get a shot of Brian looking out into the crowd and happening to catch the eye of Eva Mendez's character in the audience there.
Yeah, what's with that stare down? I was like, does he know her?
I knew
Obviously
she was
not.
important. The second that happened, I don't know who Eva Mendes is, but I knew the second that they caught that eye contact, I'm like, so she's important. I
The
get that.
blocking didn't even try to hide it. Like, she's just in a standing by herself, not blending in with the crowd.
She's in a crowd of people there, but there's definitely a bubble around her because I'm sure the crowd
that
is
or
just
she's
made up
standing
of
on a block
extras.
and she's 2 feet higher than everyone else. One of those things. I will say though, as I'm watching that entire thing, 2 things popped out to me. One, I didn't notice until Amanda mentioned it, and that's that Brian apparently drives on the right side of his car.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently he's
Oh
British.
my gosh.
Yeah, I caught that too.
He got out and I was like, did he just drive his car on the right side? Because I was trying to decide for a little bit if we flipped the image to have because they liked it better or something. But then you see the other drivers getting out the right, and I'm like, he got out of what?
It's an import, isn't it? It's an import car, so
From
Even if it's
where?
Even if it's imported from
Japan.
that side of the
England,
world,
Skyline.
it wouldn't be reversed.
Yeah, it was like, I'm confused. I don't know. And then, it doesn't happen again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it does not
just like
mention
that one
there's no
race.
explanation.
Which honestly, I kind of respect that they just did that and left it and didn't make a big deal out of it. Because now I'm just sitting here wondering about it.
There.
I should have watched
Okay,
the
and the
prequel
second-
movie because it happens in the prequel movie of Brian getting that car there for a specific reason because it's on that side of the. So, but again, you
Hey,
don't really need to watch that.
That's
prequel
honestly
movie.
the kind of subtlety I
Oh,
like. So
God.
Deep cut.
Anyways, the second thing that I noticed during that thing was when we go to the first movie with Dom and everyone's out there and they have all those really nice cars lined up. Everyone's checking out the cars and whatnot. And I noted that when they do it in here, people are just riding bicycles. It's
It's a whole
not even
party
choppers,
event and
just
stuff
little
like
bicycles.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a full on break dancing, playing music. Hedge as Ludacris is playing in the background with the music just blaring. Yeah, they're like flashing off who has the better speaker coming out of their car. That to me is fan service for the community, because I don't live in that world, but I would imagine the people that do probably go to those places just to like walk around, check out each other's vehicles, like enjoy just hanging out with people that they know. So that was probably maybe what that scene was trying to convey, but what it's worth.
And I do have to comment, this is like the surfer era Paul Walker there with his completely blonde hair, white shirt, and baggy jeans and stuff like that on there.
He is young.
Yes.
Are
Go ahead, Gary.
you to the escape yet, or are you guys still at the street race?
I mean, we can get to the escape there. I mean, like, I was just going to again point out in order to keep going fast, you got to keep shifting.
I can understand that. You just, all right, next shift, hit the pedal. I'm like, how many times can you hit the pedal? How are you letting up?
Like,
at some
where's
point
your
here?
foot?
What's
Yeah.
happening?
But yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Reminds me of when you want to take an anime reference, Gary. It reminds me of in animes where they just have to go, I just need to hit the next level. I just need to yell more. And then it's like, all right, you just need to try harder. And he rocks up his car, and apparently now it's at a new level. So, hey, all you have to do is believe in yourself.
Conspiracy theory number 1.
Oh God.
Monica called the cops.
I could see
Monica?
Why would that be a conspiracy theory? I assumed that's what happened.
That's what I assumed too.
that. Yeah.
Which one's
You
Monica?
don't think the cops just came because they broke in, jump a bridge, like?
I would like to know why these guys aren't near as good as the other street racers. Why the other guys were listening to the radio frequencies or whatever it was?
Right?
They were totally on top of that. These guys didn't even have like spotters out there watching for things. Look out,
However,
man.
I did notice at the beginning of the movie they closed a road, which I didn't know if it was like a safety thing of like, hey, yeah, like
That was funny, yeah.
we can't encourage people to actually street race. Like, do this safely.
Instead, illegally close roads. That's the way to do it.
Steal street signs and use them. Okay. After that conspiracy theory, which apparently Tyler scoffed at, the
Always.
director told me something I never knew, and that was that the EMP gun is not a real thing. I just assumed it was a real thing.
a real thing?
Hey, I played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit as well, and it works there.
What? It was a harpoon with an EMP bomb on it. What about that seems legit
Well,
to you?
basically, it's
I don't know
designed to like
weapons.
shut down the electrical system. So I think I've seen in other games where it's like a magnet. You just like it shoots a magnet at the car, and it's designed to shut down the electrical systems of the car.
God, next time you're gonna tell me a lightsaber isn't real either.
I have on my notes here, LOL, har fucking poon. Because I'm like, and all you guys laughed at me last time when I said that stuff about the harpoons and they're going to be used again. And I'm like, this is it. They're using the har fucking poons again, and it has EMP on it. What?
Finally, the good guys got harpoons to battle the bad guys with harpoons.
Well, and they are
Oh, yeah, I
stopping
forgot
street
harpoons in the
racing.
first movie. Good callback.
They're stopping street racing by firing harpoons wildly in the street. I want to also point out that, like,
That seems legit to me.
we're balanced
Okay,
on
Steven, what is your realistic solution? It's shoot out the tires, right?
you know what? My,
Non-lethal.
Or
My
drop,
realistic
drop
solution? A fucking
bike strips?
yeah, tire strips.
The cops respect good cars. They don't want to wreck them.
Or just like park two cars like this, like facing each other on the street, and basically have them go, yeah, you can ram the car, go for it. You're also going to break your car. I'm just saying.
Hmm.
A harpoon does not seem like the most legit way of stopping a car.
Steven here with the reality check.
So obviously, Steven didn't enjoy the harpoons. You're just a harpoon hater.
Okay, see, that's where you're wrong though, because I came into this movie thinking this is gonna suck, and I'm like, that's a fucking spoon with an EMP on it. What the fuck is that? And I laughed. I had a good time with the EMP harpoon.
Okay.
I also like the fact that not only is that something that seems non-plausible, but that Brian has seen it enough that he knew to like dodge and try and get out of the way a couple times.
Mm-hmm. So then we, I gotta call. Nah, never mind. So yeah, we get the FBI guy from the first movie is back there to offer Brian a job to help the Miami Customs office in there stop some bad guy there.
I have in my notes here, everyone is gone. Where did they go? Because I was confused. I thought there would be someone back from that first movie. Apparently not. And then
I
haven't.
Even that's what we were trying not to spoil.
Well, I get it.
No one is back other than Brian.
See, no. See, that's my next
I
note
got it.
here. Except for Dad Cop. Dad Cop is back.
Terrible Racer Brian is terrible.
And Brian shows this new street racing knowledge there by showing the FBI how bad of a partner they've given him by
Haha.
talking
I
about
laughed.
pizza as your engine instead of the. Go ahead, Steven.
We didn't
No, I
know
was
they
just-
sold engines at Gino's Pizza.
Gallegos.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Which I would assume that the FBI would be smarter than that, but whatever. I did like the it gets to the cliche. Basically, Brian turns, I know a guy, and I'm just like, there it is.
Did you think though, Steven, like this was going to be somebody returning from the first movie, or
I did.
Okay.
It's interesting. Yeah,
I didn't know who, and I
Legit.
thought it was not going to be Dom because you guys basically told me it wasn't going to be Dom.
Yeah, that's kind of what I assumed. So it did take me a few minutes, and I was like, "Oh, no one's really in here." But I was honestly already hooked by then, so I wasn't too worried. Also, I'm quite sure they're coming back in some other movies. I'm not entirely sure why I think that.
Seen enough ads.
Yeah, so not too worried.
And then we get to move on to the revelation of who Brian's new partner is that he wants, played by one Tyrese. We get a Roman Pierce, I think.
Years.
Yep.
Point of information: who's Tyrese?
It's a great
That's
question.
the actor's real name.
Is he
Yeah.
like famous for something? Or
He's
is he just-
famous for this movie and
Oh, okay.
Baby Boy and Four Brothers. I don't know what other.
Well, he
movies
was a
that-
musician in the early 2000s, late 90s, right? Wasn't that originally what it was, and then he became an actor after that?
I honestly don't know his backstory.
I don't know.
Okay,
He looks
you
super
said-
familiar to me, but I looked it up and I couldn't really find anything that I would have
All
recognized.
right, maybe
so.
that was. You guys were saying Tyrese with such like authority, like he's a one-name guy. I should know who he is. He's like The Rock, so I assumed he was known for something else.
That is the question I keep asking myself. I was like, I thought The Rock was in here somewhere. We must not have gotten to those ones yet.
Yeah, so he started off in the 90s as a R&B singer, and
There you go.
apparently his first brush with fame was singing the 1994 Coca-Cola advertisement, "Always Coca-Cola." So there you go.
They are.
Look at him now.
Look at him now.
Proper actor.
I do want to call out Tyrese. He's doing demolition all wrong there. He's got like no safety gear in the car. He's hitting other cars with the front of his vehicle, which you're not supposed to do in a demolition there.
You're supposed to hit him with your bumper, right? Your back bumper.
Your back bumper.
You
Yep.
have to. You have to. You're supposed to save your engine. Like you have to keep people away from your engine and your tires.
And your radiator. That's the big thing with the engine. You don't want your
Yeah.
engine to overheat.
So are you saying this is a real thing? Because I was going to comment on how unsafe it looked.
Oh my gosh, Steven.
It's like-
There's a game called Test Drive Eva Destruction. There's only demolition derbies, but I think it's the best racing game ever.
To back
But
up,
it's only
back
on,
up,
like,
Steven. You're questioning if demolition derbies are a real thing?
Like in this style, like the Mad Max style almost. I don't know. It seems like Mad Max style to me.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like people were
County
gonna die in this
fairs?
thing.
You take these old cars out, smash all the windows out of them, reinforce your bumper and stuff like that, go out and drive into everyone. Or if you want
Alright.
a better game would be Wreckfest. That's a different game that's kind of centered around a lot of demolition stuff.
Clarification
You can
too.
see
he
how much in
said-
the car culture world I am in.
For clarification, he also said his friend was in Barstow, right? It's California, isn't it? Unless there's a Barstow, Florida that I'm not familiar with. So essentially, he left after the first movie, went to Florida. They were in Miami. And then he said, I have a friend. And he flew completely across the country. And then they brought him back to Florida. That's what I
Teleports.
heard.
They are in
Teleports.
Barstow
Teleports thing.
Speedway, is what the sign says here.
That's what I was thinking it was. I just wanted to clarify too, like that it's not like, hey, I know a guy, he's literally in town or like 2 towns over. It's on a whim without knowing who he's bringing in. Because Bilkins says, like, is this the guy? He knows nothing about it. He's like, all right, sure, let's get in the plane and fly 3,000 miles. That seemed
That
odd,
is a
especially
large jump of
Right?
confidence that you wouldn't think about.
considering the person you're putting all your faith in is the person who has proven that they will betray you first chance they got previously.
Okay,
This was
so
interesting.
Tyler digs on this movie, so I'm just gonna defend it. Do you feel that Brian and Roman are believable as childhood friends?
No, but they're fun. They're fun characters.
Hmm.
In no way, shape, or form does it feel like they are childhood friends. It feels like they are manufactured as childhood friends.
Okay, are they better than Vince and Dom?
That's the same. Right? Are you talking about?
I don't know enough yet.
Are you talking about? You're talking about the character Vince, right?
Character
first movie.
Vince and Dom from the first movie, who are like childhood friends.
No, they
First
seem
of all,
like
I think
actual childhood friends. Because you have that one asshole childhood friend that you have to watch out for, and he's just an
Okay.
absolute dick, and you have to still, part of the family, and mom told you got to watch out for him, and god damn it if you just get hit by a car, but,
I guess I believed a little bit more that Roman and Brian grew up together. I'm not saying like it's, written so well and beautifully, how could you not? I'm just saying, I guess I bought it. The way that they razz on each other, it's not like I have a certain group of friends that all I do is say annoying crap to antagonize them.
I would say
Yeah,
there's maybe
that
a history between them, but I wouldn't go the childhood friends route because they do get into a fight outside of the speedway there.
I think independently they're both really good actors, and I think they actually do jive fairly well together throughout the movie, but I feel like a lot of the putting them together felt manufactured and felt inorganic. So, like you're sitting up there, he sees him in the stands, he's like, oh, and it feels like a really Hollywood cliche sort of thing, like, I was your friend, but then you betrayed me, but I have come back to help you. And it doesn't feel organic. And that's where, like, when Gary was talking about Dom and Vince, that felt super organic. There was
Because one of us was an asshole. Like that's
one
your
of us-
justification. Everybody's
there's
friends
no
with an
there's
asshole.
no real reason for them to be together. They're just together because they've always been friends, and they kind of, they don't act very friendly to each other. Even they're just, as siblings, you don't act friendly to your siblings. I have a sister. I am not nice to my sister. She's not nice to me because that's what siblings are.
Can confirm.
And with those like long-lasting relationships, it's not really something you're never like. Of all the friends I've had for a long time, I cannot recall the last time I've been like, "Hey, I've known you since we were this young," Like, "Hey,
Yeah.
like what's?"
You don't bring it
I'm
up
still the
'cause you both
same,
know
bro.
it.
Yeah, it's like we just talk. It's not
Mhm.
like Vince and Dom. It's like me is the one that explains they've been childhood friends. It's not like Dom isn't like, Vince, I've known you since you were a kid and you left me hanging. The Buster. It's nothing like that. It's just Mia brings it up. So, in that sense, I guess it's more believable in the first movie.
Also, according to the director, the first heist is supposed to be them becoming partners. It's supposed to be a mending relationship. Just as I know you guys love director feedback,
The
but
first heist?
Where they
it's
go-
a little
they break
further
it up.
ahead when they did the cigar heist. The cigar race.
okay.
The cigar race is supposed to be them driving as separates and then becoming partners, like kind of burying the hatchet by showing just by big dicking around the highway.
I would say that probably worked.
But
Anyway.
before we pass it over,
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are we moving on?
Well, I was just gonna say it was like, speaking of like, there was something about fashion too. I was gonna call out of Brian wearing a West Coast Choppers shirt.
I saw that.
I had that as product placement because actually West Coast Choppers shows up somewhere else. Not just on his shirt, it shows up in a different place too.
There's a sticker on his
No,
houseboat too.
Yeah,
That's
it. What I was going to bring up is as they they become you gotta they recruit him, you son of a bitch, I'm in, sort of thing, and bring him back to the FBI headquarters, walk him into the headquarters. Oh, I'm not going to go in there. And yeah, you're going to go in there. And yeah, I'm going to go in there. So it goes through all that rigmarole. But then when they're walking out, something actually really cool happens. And that's that we have a UH-60A flyover, Blackhawk, one of the original Blackhawks from the 1970s. It looks blinged out as fuck. Apparently, this was loaned, because I looked all this up, by the way. This specific one was loaned by the, I think it's the, yep. It was loaned to the set by the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Protection Agency.
They loaned them a helicopter?
They loaned them a helicopter. And all I could think about is this movie is so much about fuck the cops, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go, trade, and we're gonna go drink and blah 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 blah, all this illegal stuff. By the way, can we get a lot of money from like LAPD and the Miami Police Department, and how about the U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Agency lends us a helicopter? I just found it very funny.
I think they also let them use their entrance, because they also said that they only had like a half an hour they could use the entrance to the Customs and Border Patrol office.
Yeah, they're walking into just this big U.S. Customs sign on the side of the screen there too.
I'm guessing they I think it might have been the real U.S. Customs office, or I guess you just make a sign. And
That's pretty good sports, honestly. I kind of admire that.
I mean, all somebody there probably enjoys Paul Walker and Fast and Furious, so you just trade in on that one guy who will agree to anything.
Hey Jim, we need
fancy cars.
How do you
They were only one movie in.
Fast and Furious. Jim,
They're
a genius.
All the fans that John Singleton was asking were at the customs office, actually. So that was all the surveys there.
like, they're people too. Maybe they're trying to showcase that they're down with street racers, or like that they appreciate those kind of things. Like, they're still going to do their job and bust you, but yeah, nice car. All right, turn over, shoot your hands.
So then we move on with Roman and Brian basically in the customs hangar there. They get unveiled. They get Eva Mendes' character brought in to talk about the undercover stuff that they're working on. And then they unveil that Mitsubishi. And I think they're both Mitsubishis, aren't they? Just one's an Eclipse.
Mitsubishis, there must be different models, though.
Yeah, one's an Eclipse and one's something else.
Later they called it a Spider and an Evo.
Okay.
Is what Brian says when he has Jimmy take a look at him. I have no idea what that means, but yeah.
But we get them out testing out the cars and stuff like that, and then we get the famous drive and stare moment there with Brian staring at Eva Mendes' character just to show her how cool of a driver he is.
Yeah, but Rome taught him that. One of the things that I also noted here was when Paul Walker was revealed to me as a cop, I was actually like, oh shit, he's a cop? Like, that was an actual, like, whoa, I'm learning that the Fight Club guy's actually been beating the crap out of himself the entire time.
Wait, what?
But when this happened, when whoever her name was revealed to be a cop, I was just like, oh, this is a little anticlimactic, because I could kind of have seen this coming. I wish it would have been cooler if it was revealed later and it had been camouflaged somewhat somehow, it felt again forced and inorganic.
I will
We're
say,
on a
and this
couple
kind of happens a little bit further throughout the movie, it feels like though they try to dip the toe in of like, is she still a cop or is she on the bad guy's side? They dip
Mhm.
the toe in ever so slightly, but I don't think they ever fully commit to that bit though.
Yeah, they dip their toe in every 20 minutes or so of like, oh, she's been uncovered too long, or like Roman says that well, they're actually dating or they're hooking up. And so yeah, they dip the toe occasionally. It just wasn't, as Steven said, it wasn't convincing, and it wasn't
Yeah,
a surprise.
that was something I did. I was like, well, you clearly don't honestly want me to believe this. Like, they didn't put enough effort into making me like doubt it, because I was like, of course she's not actually. She's just doing her thing. She's just sitting there trying to convince them she's on the bad guy's side. I didn't think the movie went. Their only explanation was like, oh, she's with that guy, and I'm like, of course she is. She has to stay alive too.
Mhm.
But like, they didn't do a good enough job of like hinting at it to be like, is she actually?
Hmm.
I was quite convinced that she was on the good guy's side the entire time.
Yeah, I kind of never doubted it.
Which then she takes Brian and Roman there to the audition there at the rich guy's mansion where they meet up with these other drivers of these other cars there. And then the audition is basically to race to the marina to pick up something out of this guy's Ferrari that has been impounded or something like that. Steven.
Yeah, and I think it says like, it doesn't. My Ferrari was impounded. I don't care that my Ferrari was impounded. What matters what's in the Ferrari. You have to go get that. And the entire time he's talking, all I can think about is this Matthew McConaughey? This dude looks like Matthew McConaughey. So that's what I was thinking about the entire time.
It was something, the way that he says his words. I did catch something like that too. I had to keep like looking at him closely.
So, yeah, fun fact, that actor's name is Cole Hauser, and he plays the Cowboys' quintessential cowboy in the newer show Yellowstone. It's out by Taylor Sheridan. And he has a big beard, always has a cowboy hat, and that is how I saw him the entire show. I did not for 1 second buy that he was whatever they said, like born in South America or something like that, and was like this drug warlord, because he's like this cowboy character in my mind, anyways. So it was very interesting to see Cole Hauser play this guy. Also, he's gained probably like 40 pounds in the last 20 years, and so he looked really, really thin and unhealthy in my mind's eye. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was,
he is definitely like, he is 100% like dug into being the cowboy guy now.
yeah. It's just very interesting watching that aspect of him, and it's like, this is, Barone, right? Whatever his name was.
Yeah, Carter Brown.
Okay, Nick,
Carter
hot take. Is he more dislikable in this show or in Yellowstone?
Oh, this show, 100%. Dislikable in the sense that he's just like, well, kind of like what Steven said earlier. He's just the asshole's asshole. He's not necessarily like a dangerous guy. I mean, every time we see him being dangerous, he's got the two muscled guys who are helping him do it. So it's like, because he has the numbers people. It's not necessarily that he was ever threatening in my mind's eye. It's just he tries to come off as like the reserved Bond villain kind of a thing. But I didn't think he was more scary. I think the other one was more unlikable. Steven.
I have never seen Yellowstone in my life, but you saying that he's not in some way, shape, or form threatening here, I do not see, because we're going to get to a portion a little bit later where he's obviously very unhinged and dangerous, and I have
Yeah.
something to talk about that and something to talk to Gary specifically about when we get there.
That's fair.
And I recognized him not from Yellowstone, but from an earlier movie of Dazed and Confused, where he plays Benny, the guy who is trying to chase down the younger kid there and
That's right.
give him the whole initiation shtick. So he was threatening in that movie already. So yeah, I mean, especially with the scene that sounds like Steven's talking about. Yeah, I believe him as a threatening person here.
I will have to call out RIP to the Saline Mustang that does not make it underneath the semi-trucks very well.
Ugh.
That
That was a-
escalated quickly.
That and a Corvette also as well are involved in this car crash.
I
when
flinched hard.
when that was happening, my thought was, they're not going to do this. They're not going to do this. They're not going to. Oh my god! So that was an actual shock moment for me.
The director's actual commentation was, "We're totally going to use this in the trailer because it hurts people's soul to watch expensive cars be destroyed."
Yeah, it was
Like-
definitely the car being destroyed, not the
Not the loss of
going
life.
over the fucking guy.
Because I sat there afterward being like, did they just kill a guy? I was like, maybe he's still alive? There's no way. There's no way.
There's no way.
He's dead.
If
He's
he-
gone.
If he was still alive, that'd be a fate worse than death. To still be alive and feel that pain.
So that the semi trucks don't slow down. They're still just
Yeah, they just keep
trucking.
going. Like
Yeah.
they literally just it doesn't matter that it wasn't their fault. There's like an accident and they just keep going.
Well, you know why, guys? Because if they don't stop them, the truckers are going to take this into their own hands.
Vigilante justice.
Quite just in the same vein here. I don't remember the cop's name, but obviously we're meant to think he's a complete moron for just instantly assuming these guys are running. But seriously, what a complete moron to just instantly assume without any attempt at verification.
Mhm.
Right?
And I was sitting there like, wouldn't what's her name have like warned them? Of course,
Yeah.
unless she didn't know for sure, but like it's a pretty reasonable thing, isn't it?
They were
I
hired to be
don't
race car drivers, and they're
Right. And you
driving
obviously
fast.
have their locations like practically like instantly at your fingertips. Why wouldn't you just let it play out a little bit and see?
Mhm.
Well, also too, I think like they say that our informant has let us know you're going to be hired on for this job, but there's an audition of some sort. So you know something involves you need drivers. That's what you're having them go undercover to pretend to be. So obviously they're in a car, they're driving fast. What the hell's going on? It's like that's literally what you told them to go do. Yeah.
Uh,
And then they still end up at the destination before they do, so it's not like they're at a risk of outrunning the cops, apparently.
mhm. And then speaking of driving faster too, I am no car expert by any means, but I believe that it is physically impossible to shift a car into reverse and keep it going at 100 plus miles an hour while you flip off your best
Correct.
friend on the freeway. I'm
Correct.
pretty
I
for
believe
sure-
it. I believe it blows up your engine because the engine can't
Yeah,
go
yeah,
that fast.
you would fuck up your transmission pretty weirdly there for sure. Let's see here. Brian's car is fine after running into a metal pole there, basically. I can't tell if that metal pole was secured into the ground at the entrance of the lot there or what was going on, but his car's perfectly fine, no damage.
Yeah, that metal
Of
pole in the
course.
center was probably stationary and concreted in.
Hmm.
Apparently, it's a
Um,
breakaway pole. You never knew.
Well, and I also enjoyed how when they get to the actual Corvette as well, they get out and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to shoot our ways out of this," and they do have to shoot their way out. They shoot at the cops, and I'm just like, so you didn't like even shoot around the cops just to make it look believable? You shot at the cops. Like that is, I get you're undercover, but
It seemed like though he was aiming more at the windshield and everything like that. There, like the cops had already gotten out, and he was just firing at the windshield of the car that the cops were in. But we learned there basically that the hidden package there was basically just a cigar. It was all really just about them actually doing the job and not necessarily the contents themselves. Because now Brian and Roman are going to be hired on as basically just couriers. Their job is to just transport something.
$100K when they get to the end of the destination, and no guarantees. I hear from them about like money in a safe box or like some sort of leverage. Won't come back to bite them.
What did you all think about Roman trying to steal Carter's cigar cutter?
I thought it was a stupid move. On the other hand, it probably helped like Gives him a
Tell it.
little bit of cred.
Credibility that he's not. They weren't yes men, and they don't seem like cops because, like, a cop wouldn't do something stupid to like get fired. So, like,
I highlighted that little interchange in one of my notes because it was interesting that Roman was dumb enough to try and do that to like the head bad guy who seems really intimidating in that scene. But then also I was wondering, yeah, if there was like more to it where he's not dumb, he just wanted to see if he could actually pull it off. So I saw it both ways. I was just curious what everybody's thoughts were.
What's the difference between being brave and being stupid? Getting away with it, right? So I mean,
Probably.
dude's pushing his luck, and that's how he gets where he goes.
It was interesting in that scene. I remembered that exchange, but not how it played out. And when it was happening, I wasn't watching Roman get busted as much as I was trying to watch Brian's character. And Paul Walker does a really good job of actually, like, he has no lines. He's just in the background of that scene. He's not Carter and he's not Roman, but he's like rolling his eyes and going, "You stupid," like under his breath. And you can see that he's really trying to act and play out that, like, I can't believe you just did that. It was interesting.
I mean, that being said, Paul Walker's character does, and I think this is maybe, I think maybe he is playing this person as well, but it does come off as a kind of dead fish, someone that really wants this job, which would seem a bit nervous
Suspicious.
to me.
Sus.
whereas
Yeah.
Roman was like, you can just double that amount.
I'm hungry.
And actually, on the rewatch, I assume that he says yes, but he doesn't.
No.
I think he says no, but you should come to the club. Conspiracy theory number 2. He invites them to the club specifically so that Roman can see what he's going to get if he asks for more money again.
I don't think that club scene is until a little ways later, but
Well, and
in that same conversation, he invites them to the club. Correct?
He does.
Hey,
He
you guys
says,
should join
"Meet
us
me
at the
there
club
tonight."
later.
He does say, "Meet me there tonight." Club something, Club L or something.
let's see what do we else up here. They go back to the meetup with the cops there basically, and get it with the custom guy there because he can't understand what they're doing in this undercover situation. Yeah, I wrote down it's kind of just another trope here too, like this itchy cop looking to make their bust and stuff like that. Just can't trust these people here, these undercover criminals.
I enjoyed a lot that Roman eats the cop's entire fucking sandwich. Like, and you see that he grabs the bag initially, but if you, like, he's not even talking, but when Brian's talking, you just see Roman in the background just eating the entire taco or burrito or whatever. And then when he leaves, he literally, like, spikes it on the table as he walks out, like, ugh, I'm done.
And like after the meeting's done, both Brian and Roman are kind of at this point of like, we need kind of like an exit strategy for how do we get away from this situation if stuff goes bad. And they realize, oh, we need 2 more cars here. Because they learn they're basically they have I think it's Jimmy is the character. They have Jimmy look at the 2 cars and they find out that these things are like heavily wired up with trackers and everything like that. Go ahead, Steven.
I just love that the trackers are very stereotypical trackers. When they turn on, they go blink, 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 and they, like, honestly, I don't know how anyone gets tracked with those damn things.
If it doesn't have a blinky light, it's not a tracker. That's what I've learned
True.
from movies.
How are you going to check if you don't have a status light, Steven? You're going to send a tracker out into the wild without a status light?
But apparently these cars are so wired with this tracker that you can't take it. It's like they're wired into the central nervous system of the car. If you take it out, it's going to rip apart the car. Like,
Well,
That
and
made
I
me
laugh.
kinda
It's meaning
wonder.
that basically it's like junction wired into every part of the wiring harness. You pretty much have to take out the entire electrical system to remove it.
I'm just wondering what happens if you just like go snip and route around. Is there a bomb thing? Is it go? Doot? Oh God!
It's so well wired that they can't get it out, but it's not wired enough to be able to tell them, hey, they clearly sent us for a test. We're not running off.
Right.
If you're gonna wire something like that, wire a mic in there.
Steven, have you ever talked to somebody on speakerphone in a car when they're going 80? Microphones would not be helpful. It would just be a lot of microphone blowing in the wind.
I think that you would still get something out of it at least.
Agree to disagree.
So they head back to basically Tej's shop there, and this is where Tyrese gets to meet Tej for the first time there, and then they talk about basically trying to work with Tej to try and get these second cars, and what does it lead them to? A down and back race with those two guys from the Camaro and the Challenger, I think.
American Muscle.
Yes, American Muscle versus these import cars here. And I don't know if there's really anything to really touch on in the down and back gate race. Gary, do you have anything from your listening to director's commentary?
It's a down and back race, and it has sweet American muscle cars. Like that's it.
I feel like
It is
there's a how it should have
everything
ended here.
that you dream of.
There's a how it should have ended, and that's Paul Walker rams the guy straight in his fucking hood.
Also, a
Which
very
cars immediately there.
cliche American racing trope is that they play chicken, and then someone always turns. Like, I feel like I want to see a movie where they play chicken
Don't turn.
and don't turn and be like, "Oh, this was a terrible idea."
I like the album cover pose that the guys do with their girls as they drive away with their cars. That's my favorite thing from that whole scene.
Yeah,
That dude's
I did
stupid
catch
Ed Hardy
that.
shirt.
There's a name I haven't heard in a while, Ed Hardy. But yeah. Then we move into I think they head back into the club there, where Brian has.
And there is a amazing line as they walk into the club. It's a oasis in here. I heard that and I wrote it down immediately. I was
I
like,
could
"Oh
not
my
remember
God!"
what term he used, but I knew it was a brotastic line.
Oh, it made me laugh. It made me laugh very hard.
Subjective language.
Yeah. Steven, you're smiling. I think you likes
I told you I enjoyed. Coming into this movie with a very with a low expectation. I enjoyed it. If I came into this thing again thinking it was an A, this would be another bad time.
This would be a bad one.
This would be a bad one.
Oh, I really did enjoy the movie as well. Like, I said that at the very end to Steven when I was like, I don't understand. I thought it was supposed to be like a terrible movie. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely not an A+ movie, but like, I guess I was expecting just to be rolling my eyes the entire time, and I actually quite enjoyed it.
Wait for the next one. Set expectations at the floor.
Gary, what do you want me to like the movies or not? Because if you liked this one, was my understanding, and now you're like,
Yeah.
let's not get your hopes too far ahead, Amanda, for the next one.
Do not get your hopes ahead on the next one.
I'm gonna guess we're gonna move into the scene here in the club there with the rat and
There
stuff.
was
Or is
one
there
thing that
something
happens before that, and it's that's Paul Walker hits on the FBI agent, undercover FBI agent again.
Okay,
And
take something off his shirt, like seriously.
Does it wow? Like, for some reason she is like some super knowledgeable, knows where this where Matthew McConaughey is at all times, but doesn't realize he's in the fucking club, staring her down this entire time. Just like, all right, this seems legit.
Is it like she puts his hand on his shoulder or
All
something?
right.
She tries to like clean something off his shirt or something, or like pluck something off. I don't know. Which is, I admit, like a little more intimate of a gesture, but like I don't know. I thought it was a bit of an assumption, but of course I would, since that was the viewpoint. And since we know that they were both totally liking each other, it's
It
not
was
entirely.
definitely flirting. It was 100% flirting.
I just can't see her being that stupid. Like you said, she
Or-
knows where. I don't know. It was clearly manufactured from somebody who is not incompetent by a long shot.
Do you think it was just Eva trying to play her character trying to play the two guys off of one another there to get the bad guy more riled up against Paul Walker?
I will accept that explanation.
I won't. I think it's the
Also-
power of lady boners.
Also, if she's been undercover, she should understand that this guy's effing crazy.
You don't
Well-
forget when your life's on the
But
line.
you don't
like that.
realize that he's effing crazy until like 5 minutes from now. So this is true. Initially, when he's just staring down, it's like general boyfriend jealousy, and then you realize he's crazy.
Right. And like she's been around him for 11 and a half months. So like she would know if something like that is likely to either blow her cover or get her killed. So I just don't see her being that stupid that instantly over some guy she just met.
I'm just saying it's the power of people getting frazzled and all that sort of stuff, and I think that's what
Stephen, Paul
that's why-
Walker's eyes are pretty dreamy, yes, and yet they do not have the power to just pierce your
Excuse me
heart and make
here.
you lose all of your sanity.
Plus 10 charisma.
this doesn't sound like high school Amanda talking.
Rizzler.
I didn't realize that Paul Walker was in Timeline, and that was definitely where I recognized him from.
Oh shit, he was.
Mm-hmm.
Never seen that movie.
Want to watch it, Gary? I got the book. You can borrow it.
No.
Wait, what? Gary doesn't read.
I don't know how to read.
I don't know
Does it
how
have?
that-
Does the book have pictures in it?
On the cover.
Technically, yes.
pop up?
Oh yeah, they
Yeah.
explain the science.
Ooh, even better for Gary.
Ooh.
Science.
Yeah, science.
He's speaking his language.
So now do we want to move to the torture scene there, Stephen? I'll just let you
Just
take
straight
it
out of
there.
straight out of
And
Game of Thrones.
my notes
Figure out what
real quick
podcast we
are-
were doing.
Oh, here we are watching Game of Thrones again. Also, I saw this in a different horror movie, and I think it was like one of the ones with like the little kids that come back and they kill their parents or something like that. But anyways, glad we have this in here. Oh, and he's a psycho. I should probably be rooting for him too. He's obviously the bad guy, but he's just misunderstood. He's the new Dom of this movie.
Luckily, I don't think he's the Dom, so that's nice. I think he's just psycho.
Also, but he really and truly, this guy's the hero of the revolution. That's who this guy is.
No! How dare you? How dare you?
How
Sit
dare
down.
you?
He's definitely
Gary
off the
only
deep
chooses these by logic.
True. Starts dismembering.
There's
members.
more movies and more characters introduced. There's probably a much better Hero of the Revolution in the general franchise.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Yeah, I think he's unhinged. I think he's definitely psychotic. But I don't know. I mean, would he be as intimidating in that scene if he didn't have three people, including Agent Fuentes, holding down his victim?
I mean,
It's
he's
just
having
him.
he's having a rat eat through someone, so yes.
Also, director commentary, he had to ask police, like, what do people use for torture? And this is what they gave him. And he's like, okay, that works. Also, the rat is never shown.
Hold up, what?
The
Just brush
director had
past
to
that, yeah.
ask what types of torture people would use. He had to ask the police. Also, the rat is never shown. And what is shown of violence is very much limited to a PG-13 movie. Like, nothing is physically, there's no physical scratches being shown or the rat being hurt. You just see the aftermath. It's very PG-13.
I did note that as well because like it's making it seem like the rat is doing stuff, and I'm expecting blood to
Implications.
start coming out from like the sides of the thing. Nothing.
He's just screaming, "It's eating me! It's biting me!"
Bad guy's got a bad guy sometimes.
Exactly.
Okay, got a bad guy.
Then we move on basically like after this whole scene kind of happens here. What do I got here? There's a scene where Eva Mendes breaks into Brian's house early in the morning, and then the guy's henchmen come looking for her. And I just wrote down there's this whole kind of hilarious exchange where Paul Walker's just like he's taking the gun from one of them and he's just yelling, "Put the gun down! Put the gun down!" It's just stupid.
Oh,
Why is her hair wet?
Yeah,
I don't know. I saw that
I
too.
thought she swam to the boat.
It was such a weird thing. Like, she had to sneak out and get across the like. It's not like she just snuck out while she was after the shower or something. Like, she had to get all the way there. Your hair in Miami, while I'm sure it's pretty damn humid, your hair would have dried.
I felt
Like,
that
I felt like they did it for like sex appeal, and I was like, this was so obviously like not what it would have. She would have also needed, if she got caught, she would have also needed to look like she wasn't sneaking out.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious if
take-
perhaps there's an implication of some deleted scenes where maybe they did hook up.
Mhm.
I was almost 100% certain that they did hook up. Almost 100% certain.
No, but again, when your life is on the line, you suddenly have time for a quick kiss instead of getting out of the boat. I don't know. They
power of
took like a
boners
perfectly good,
is-
excellent. They took a perfectly obviously top-notch agent here and just made her completely incompetent with several things here. It just that did
100%
irritate me.
true. I mean, to be fair, they took 2 top-notch agents because Paul Walker was also a really good cop when he was doing it, and now he has no idea what's going on either. Like, so they took the power of boners does weird things to people's minds, and that's all I can say
I
about
feel
that.
like it's more like the power of sloppy plot writing, but
So
Column B.
Tyler referenced the 2 henchmen on the outside. Another random director's commentary that's obviously like, what does the consumer want? He specifically said there's a lot of Spanish in this movie, unsubtitled because there would be a lot in Miami, and a good percentage of car culture are those who speak Spanish in not so many words. And I was like,
I kind
oh,
of liked that. They didn't just subtitle it all. It was very clear from context what they were saying.
So kind of after this all happens, Brian and Roman kind of sit down to formulate a plan.
Wait. You skipped the main point of why she came there, though. Because after they finish the job, they're going to kill them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she came here to say. And my one thought there was, how did no one think this was going to be the case? Like, you're just going to let someone just do a job for you and just like, all right, bye, have fun, don't tell anyone.
She also mentions the airstrip, doesn't she?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's because
That's what
they use against her later. They're like, we only told one
now,
person.
or is it later that she mentions it, though?
I don't know if she mentions the airstrip. I thought that Brian mentions the airstrip to the cops, but I don't know if she mentions it. Like, I think it's implied she mentioned it. I don't remember.
I don't remember when it's dropped, but it has to be that she specifically says it because that's the phrase at the end that comes out. Yeah. And I don't know when else she would have mentioned it because any other time she does it, she's with Carter saying, "Here's the drop, here's the money, here's the bad guys doing whatever." Because if they dropped it there, one of the Enrique bad guys actually says, "Who said anything about an airstrip?" If he was standing there when she dropped it, he wouldn't have that line. I don't remember exactly when it was. It was late in the evening when I watched it, but I'm pretty sure that was when she said something about it.
So we have Brian then kind of and Roman working together to formulate a plan, and then we also kind of move to a scene where they get back, they kind of hang out with the sunset behind them and just kind of bury the hatchet there from the past events that split them apart.
Yeah. I have 2 comments on this. Oh, I'm sorry, Gary.
You learn that Roman is part of the reason that Brian lets Dom go. It's unnecessary exposition to explaining his decisions in the first movie. Steven?
So, yeah, no, that was so those the 2 things that I wrote down here was I think Rome was in jail at some point. I don't know why though. Because every 5 minutes he brings it up. Just constantly. I'm not going back to jail. You don't know how it was in jail. I ate food in jail. I was doing this in jail. Like, oh my God, man, I get it. I get it. You were in jail 2 years.
I was just say he
The
was
cop
mentioned at
busted
one
a
point.
garage he was in with 8 stolen vehicles in the garage. So it was, they busted a garage and Roman was there and there were stolen vehicles around. So Roman was implicated.
Okay, so I am being very sarcastic. I understand that he was in jail. The point I'm trying to say is that he brings it up every 5 minutes that he was in jail. He brings it up so much. And like if you had dropped it maybe once, twice, even 3 times, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I get it. He was in jail, but it's like every plot point around Rome is I'm not going back to jail. And like, all right, I get it, man. I get it. But then I also have, kick you, they're making up. So
I do think that a little bit of what Tyler mentioned with burying the hatchet and what Gary was commenting on too, I think that that's part of the reason. I do agree. I think that the frequency that's mentioned is far too much. But the reason that they have this he has an axe to grind and why they have to bury the hatchet is because he was trying to hang out with his quote unquote best childhood friend, doing the things that Brian was doing with him. But then when Brian started becoming a cop, they have a little exchange that when Brian became a cop, Roman felt like he was betraying who he was. And so I think he said, Roman Pierce, just me. I was wiling out, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing or something, however he phrases it. And so the way he mentions it, it sounds like he was going overboard and, like Gary said, had all these stolen vehicles in his possession. So when he got busted, he felt like maybe Brian was the one who had ratted him out. And that's why they have to bury this axe and why he's so agitated about him in the earlier scenes.
Well, this is where I get back to this is where it starts feeling mechanical again to me and not organic.
Sure.
Like these sorts of scenes they seem forced, they seem put together. Again, I like the characters themselves, but this stuff seems either not well written or forced somehow.
Does it seem rushed? At all?
I'm not sure rushed would be the word I'd put it. It doesn't seem organic. It seems like they were two people on a parallel path put to a point, and then the director said, and now kiss. And that's what they had to do. They had to kiss, and so they did. And that's fine. It would make more sense if there was some foreplay leading up to it, but there wasn't. It was just straight up, just right into it.
You thought it was unnecessary exposition, and that they had to.
It doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like they've been. I guess it would make more sense to me if it came together a lot slower, and there wasn't any like deviation point. Maybe it's only like in retrospect that you realize, oh shit, they back at some point they have become a real team, instead of like, this is the point, this is now they're a team sort of thing. So maybe that's where I'm coming from.
I think it ends up being a little bit more like the I feel like I always bring up the Star Wars prequels in this, but you always hear Obi-Wan and Anakin talk about how they've gone on these great adventures, as they talk about like, oh, we had these great adventures, we had these great moments, and that was a real crazy moment there. And we're seeing like these moments here, but we don't see the connection between them actually happening. We're just being told that kind of like, oh yes, we had these moments between us emotionally and connection wise, but really we're just watching action and one-liners happen, and we're not actually seeing the actual results that are happening internally with the characters.
So what's the next scene here? Is that the next morning where they prepare? Anything else on the heart to heart, Steven?
No, nothing else on the heart to heart. Instead, I want to point out that so as they start getting ready for the next day, they have the two guys show up to kind of go with them. And my one comment on that is, okay, I'll be honest, I like the Miami swag. I like the suits. I like the silk shirts. I like the Miami swag. I am very much for this, and if I could get my hands on it, would 100% wear it. Like, I like it.
Very
Did not
fitting in-
expect that.
in
Learned
South
something
Dakota.
new. Yeah.
So then, moving on to the next stuff, there is basically Brian and Roman going on the ride there to the wonderful trailer court there, because that's where a perfect stash house is, your trailer house out there in Miami.
The random squatter who's just holding the place down, and then they're
Leaves
here.
with a
All right.
bag of cash.
Leaves with a
Just
bag
like-
of cash.
Also, I just imagine it's in this trailer house. They put all this money in a wall. They sheetrock it up. And then how long has this been there? Is this like you just do all that sheetrocking for like one day? Or has this been there for like 6 months?
Have any of you guys seen Sicario? It reminded me of the first scene in Sicario with they're busting through the walls, and instead of money, there's bodies behind the walls, and that's what I was almost sort of expecting. If this was like an R-rated version of Fast and Furious movie, it would have been bodies and like cocaine, and that's what would have been in Miami. But that's this is what that really gave me vibes of, and I'm
Interesting that you said there would be cocaine, because I'm wondering if you had cocaine in the walls rather than money, if it gets closer to being an R-rated movie.
I wonder. I would bet that's true.
Like if you show drugs versus if you just show money with the implication it's for drugs.
Yeah. And then right after they find the cocaine, though, or not, I'm sorry, now I'm on my own planet here. But right after they find the money in the walls, something that I need someone else to explain to me happens. Does the cop who was threatened with a rat eating through his daughter and son actually still narc on his crime boss?
He does.
He says hold. He says hold. And then he says hold. And he's like, F it. Just go attack.
Because I don't know if that makes him a good police officer or a really bad parent and dad. Because I was watching that and I'm like, oh my God, I hope you are going to be put in witness protection, and I don't even think that'll stop you.
Yeah.
You better. Oh God.
He has no confirmation that the big guy, the main boss, is even there. And if the main boss isn't implicated, he's still out in the world to hurt his family.
I didn't know if maybe I missed something, because this made no sense to me. That decision just didn't make sense.
We never hear back about what happened with that, because I could see him making the decision if he thought that, hey, we can get the bad guy now, but this wasn't him. It wasn't the guy wasn't even there, so he would definitely have had time to do retribution or something. And how is this guy going to explain that to his bosses in the meantime? But yeah.
Also, this movie exists in a post 9/11 world where apparently local police don't talk to border control. That you wouldn't hey, maybe give him some space. Don't tell them that you have an op, but please keep us informed of all actions that involve this guy. He is on our radar. But nope.
That's actually a very valid point. Especially so close after 9/11, because what did we say, this was 2003?
Mm-hmm.
I would think, anything with customs or people smuggling. Do we ever actually hear him say the word drugs? Steven's comment about cocaine made me wonder, because he's just he says,
No.
"Hey, go to my car. I've got the thing in
He's
my
just
car." what I
smuggling.
want." He's just smuggling something, and we just see him with money. So is he receiving money from drugs sold, or is it an arms deal gone south? I mean,
Fireworks. Just selling fireworks.
fireworks on the side of the
Illegal
road.
fireworks.
I mean, if he's an arms dealer smuggling firearms into the country, I would think, yeah, everybody would have eyes on this potential person they're looking at as a person of interest, and it would be a much tighter communication window. Steven.
And I guess maybe that's to bring up kind of what you're talking about there. This also seemed like a much more PG movie than the previous movie. I was talking to everyone yesterday or maybe the day before, I don't remember exactly when, but I brought up, I don't think there's a single instance of anyone drinking alcohol at all in this movie. They drink a lot of water, but I don't remember them drinking any alcohol. They don't do any drugs. The closest they get to like legit crime is firing a pistol at the police officers and breaking into like that one place to raise the bridge. Like, other than that, it's just kind of driving a lot. There's no real crime.
What about drinking at the Oasis? A club?
I don't think they drink at the Oasis. I don't remember that happening.
Is it like the Mandela effect where we just assume because it's at a club, people are drinking in the background, but you never actually see anyone?
Okay. Did
There was a
anyone ever
bottle of
see it?
champagne, and he said, "Help
Champagne.
yourselves."
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
he
remember
was
if they
about
had
it.
something before that, though. If they actually, like, had a glass of anything.
He's just holding it.
Does anyone actually see a Corona or Corona logo in this movie? Because
I don't think so.
skimming through some deleted scenes, I thought there was some extra scenes where Roman's doing the demolition derby longer, where the Corona logo is on the background, but in the actual movie, there's no Corona logo. There's a Pepsi. There's heavy. I have a list of product placements in this movie, but Pepsi was definitely a big one.
So then kind of the cops show up there anyways, and then we have the big long kind of police chase there through the streets with multiple cop car crashes here, and the harpoon guns come out.
Yes.
Gary's yesing the harpoon
again.
guns.
I have my big note there is harpoon. Because apparently that is what got this movie going in the morning, is wake up every day, load a helicopter, get your harpoon gun, go car hunting.
Is that a plot point? I think it's literally used 3 times. It's enough to like, yeah. It's definitely supposed to be a suspenseful point when they get out the harpoon guns.
Yeah, one of them hits Brian's car and it doesn't fully connect, so he's got to have his passenger guy take the wheel, even though the guy's too scared to drive. So that way Brian can lean out the window and pull the harpoon off his vehicle and chuck it at a cop car, which eventually causes that cop car to stop and a big pile up and everything like that. Which then allows...
I want to know how strong, like how much velocity he put on that harpoon, throwing it back to get it lodged into the cop car as well.
The theory of physics: a stationary object, the other vehicle should. Well, no, they're both going the same speed, so they'd be traveling together. I don't know.
I'm telling you,
I really wanted to know where you were going without this. You started with
Science
the
is Gary's
theory of
MO,
physics.
I was like, would it be like hitting a brick wall, with a car hitting a brick wall, like at their speed? But no, the vehicle it's being thrown from is moving the same speed with it.
Mhm.
So
It's relativity.
It's just
they're going the relative.
you're relative to the same
speed.
speed. So it's only as hard as Brian can throw a baseball, as about as much velocity as he's got.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't think about that. See? Suspension of disbelief. I just assumed that was totally plausible.
That phrase should be like the subtitle to this podcast: the suspension of disbelief when it comes to these movies.
Too Fast, Too Furious. The suspension of disbelief.
Keep your expectations. Leave your belief at the door.
Yes. Then we move on to Brian and Roman basically make it... Oh, Gary still has something.
For the 2 new people, did you guys see the car swap coming? The car swap where they
we
drive
talk about
into
when
the
they go
garage.
into the
Into the garage.
big warehouse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and when it happened, I was just like, everyone is going to get arrested. Every single person here is going to get arrested. What is happening? Because it starts with a truck, so the truck just go right into the cop cars, and I'm sitting here going, that's your big idea, is run it? Oh, no, now there's hundreds of cars coming out like ants out of here. Everyone's panicking. And I'm just like, first of all, everyone would be crashing into everyone else. Second of all, the cops are still going to arrest you. I mean, I don't go, but
You got to stop them first there, Steven. If you could just keep driving your cool car quicker than the cops, you can't ever be caught.
oh my gosh. Oh yeah, here is my my actual thing is trucks, question mark, exclamation point, what is happening?
I loved that scene. I really, really did. I thought it was great. I was sitting here like laughing the entire time. I thought it was fantastic. I did see the swap coming because they said they needed 2 new cars. So I was like, what on earth are those cars for? Like, it's clearly to swap that so that they can't be tracked later on. They did get me for a second when they did show the purple, the 2 cars that they were originally driving, and I was like, oh, they didn't swap, but then it showed obviously that they had, and I was like, oh, okay, see, I was right in the beginning. I just doubted myself for a second there. I loved that scene, especially when what's his name, the FBI guy, no FBI guy, sitting there, and he starts like getting this slow smile as he watched the chaos, and I was like, yeah, there we go.
Dad cop?
Dad cop, is that our Steven name for him?
That's code name.
That's my name for him is Dad cop.
I love when Steven
Okay.
doesn't care less about learning anyone's names, but he assigns them his own.
Wilkins.
Another what I felt was another bit of minor product placement. All of the trucks are Dodge Rams. Like, very apparently, there's a giant Dodge Ram logo when they're driving away. Like, it's like, this is muscle. This is American muscle.
You need to do some police car ramming? Buy a Ram.
Yeah.
I with all the large trucks and everything like that, I just said like, oh, this just looks like a regular Midwestern mom school pickup at this point. It's like,
Oh no.
Oh.
I get it.
Like, these guys have coordination and organization, logistics skills. Like, I am very impressed.
But wasn't that Tej's whole background? It's like he said that he used to drive until he crashed his car doing like $150, something like that. He said, and now he just orchestrates and organizes or something.
His organizational skills are like fantastic.
Yeah. Tej is the master organizer and planner there to get everything going.
When did they actually drop that for Tej? Like, when did they get that plan going? Because I missed that part.
At one point, they look at the warehouse. Was like, will this warehouse work? Yeah, this is the perfect spot. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Okay, I must have
5
missed
minutes
that.
into the movie or into the heist. So it is a long way between where they got to where they had to like do this swap. Like, they did a
Okay.
lot of highway miles.
That must be why I completely missed it.
But I think that was early
things
on.
that I missed as well. At one point during all this, like a black helicopter shows up as well, and I had a hard time following. Who's the second helicopter?
One's local
It's
police.
easy. That's easy to tell. You know why you can tell what the second helicopter is? It has
the
the
black-
FBI crest on the side of it.
Was that what it is? It's the FBI following.
It's the FBI. I saw it, and I actually have that as a note there.
Custom and
giant
Border
FBI
Patrol. Probably.
Yeah, I was
on
like,
the
it
helicopter.
says U.S. Customs and Border Patrol on
Oh,
it.
does
I think
it?
it's- I think it's the local police and then the Customs and Border Patrol there.
Ah, well, it's somewhere.
And the
They have a
helicopter for
giant
local-
crest on it anyways,
So-
and they're supposed to be undercover, and it is definitely a giant crest on the side of that
Local
helicopter.
police is a giant blue helicopter.
So local police with their previously fired harpoons, and then the jerk cop has a helicopter there monitoring as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the U.S. Customs one is like sitting there, obviously giving away the location to everybody, friend, foe, when they literally want this to be not
On the
picked up.
DL.
Yeah, they don't want the local police involved, and yet they are sending a helicopter. And I was like, you idiots!
Yeah. So then basically just we find out Brian and Roman are in that other's car there, where they've installed the sweet ejecto seats because
Ejectocito.
Ejecto seat, maybe.
Gary.
Something that becomes relevant on a second watch of this movie was that Roman's car has a harness on the driver's seat. Brian's does not. Like, it was only after I rewatched it, I was like, oh, so one of the two brotastic, like, American muscle cars comes with a 5-point harness, and then the other one comes with a 1960s seatbelt. Anyway.
Yeah,
Well,
and then we
also
learn.
get the
Oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
We get the love between these hired muscle guys and the actual drivers as well. So, oh, you're really good drivers. Oh, that's it. And you're like, oh, they're starting to bond as well. Too bad they're going to be launched into the water, killed otherwise.
I also had one comment with all of that back and forth of that part in the movie too. Ryan and Roman are shouting at each other through what appear to be walkie-talkies. Hey, let's do this move. You ready? Yeah, let's get rid of some of these people in our cars. How do the people sitting all of 1 foot to their side not hear them talking? I thought that a couple times. Where I was just like, is this what?
Also, the walkie-talkies are the walkie-talkies that the Border Patrol gave them. So, like, they had somehow they were tracking them, but they didn't go in on their radio frequency.
They just turned it to a different frequency.
Yeah, totally got them.
Yeah. Yep.
Are we gonna go to the Dukes of Hazzard jump, or where are you
We
at?
might as well, because
Hey,
I wrote
hey.
down like nothing really about the rest of the
Yeah,
movie
yeah.
here other than
Okay,
the
so
lineup.
In my
But Steven, go
Okay.
ahead there.
There's one thing that does happen. They get to the obviously one of the guys gets ejected, the other guy doesn't get ejected and instead gets told to, hey, turn off here, and so they're not going to the airport anymore. And when they get there, it's all revealed that, oh yeah, they knew that this was going to be a setup and blah 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 blah. And I feel like Matthew McConaughey at that point lets them know that, yeah, we've suspected this chick all along. That, or you slipped up once, I think he says, and that's all he needed. And he points a shotgun at her at one point with one hand, and my commentary on that was, yeah, man, one hand fire the shotgun, do it. I triple dog dare you. Do it, man, do it. But
He learned it from the truckers.
yeah, exactly. Takes him off to the side, and right as he's about to get his Paul Walker's about to get shot, he gets a Rome ex machina and saved by. I don't know how Rome found him there, because even if Rome was to like drive up and see like a boat driving away, and like, how would you know that this other guy drove off to the side? So regardless, he gets saved. And then it's not a Dukes of Hazzard jump, Gary. It's a Starsky and Hutch jump.
Okay, in my recollection of the movie, I specifically said Dukes of Hazzard, and I laughed even more when Roman says, like, "Are you gonna do what I think you're gonna do? You're going
Yep.
Dukes of Hazzard? Oh no!" And they like, as I said, very apparent. They jumped a car with seat belts and no airbags. And then they land and are surprised that, like, Brian bashed his head on a metal steering wheel and Roman broke his arm on the dash.
And while it takes him a few seconds, he still more or less shakes off his hitting his head. Like, he sits there in pain for a couple seconds. I'm pretty sure that's the exact same amount of time I waited after, like, gouging my leg and scratching it. That is not the same that you would do for being in a car accident where you slam your head against either an airbag or a steering wheel or a windshield. But, granted, I'm sure my pain tolerance isn't anywhere near Paul Walker's. So
He's a trained agent.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it says to me that I was taken aback at how much they did react to the car crash in this one. It was like, oh my gosh, they're acting like this hurt
Yeah.
compared to the previous one where, I mean, Dom does his whole thing and he just sits there and just breathes a little bit heavy, and then I guess his arm hurt a little bit, but otherwise climbs out. So, yeah.
And then everyone just gives up, by the way. All the bad guys just give up, like, oh, it's over. So
The henchman downstairs was surprised when a vehicle landed on the yacht and she got the jump on him.
I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're like an international wanted criminal and all this sort of stuff, you have like more than one guard on your yacht that's going to get boarded by probably, I don't know, the Coast Guard.
Plot armor.
Yeah. But
Technically, a lot of his minions were following Brian, I think. I think you got to assume he's got the 2 henchmen that rode with them, and then I think they had another SUV of henchmen. So assume that he's missing 4 henchmen.
Okay. But regardless, he gets arrested, gets brought off to the side. And then I have a note on here, which I wanted to bring up for everyone. Because he says, oh, look, at this point, Matthew McConaughey is staring everyone down, like, I'm going to get out of jail and I'm going to come kill you all and all that sort of stuff. And that other guy, yeah, he's getting rats to his children, so it's going to happen. And I have on here, ooh, they set up a reoccurring villain, because that's what it seems like they're trying to do.
Highly plausible that happens.
Yeah.
You could be right.
Or not.
Yeah, I'd argue that's
Both are very
absolute.
possible in this series.
Yeah, so that's me too. Like how it's very much set up to, like, this entire storyline could continue from here, and you follow Roman and Brian on their whole next thing, and here comes
Wacky
Carter,
hijinks.
busted out of jail, coming back. But
Okay, so nobody dies in this movie, so we don't have any one
Dude,
who's
someone was run
possibly
over by a
resurrected.
semi-truck.
we don't know that. We don't see his body.
Unnamed
Yeah.
red shirt. Anyway, but yes, and then we going on to the getaway, the walking away scene.
Sure.
My
in this-
pockets aren't empty.
Yeah.
Like,
Call back from earlier.
We eating
Yeah.
good.
And we ain't hungry no more either, cuz.
Yeah.
And then the graphics of the end sequence. You want to talk about bad graphics? How about those? The car is driving off into the sunset, and I'm just sitting here going, I don't this is far too much.
No, actually, hold up. Can we go back for a second about my pockets aren't empty? I'm sitting there thinking through that in my head. You watch it and you're kind of like chuckling. Yeah, ha ha ha. When the hell would they have shoved that money in their pants?
conspiracy theory number 3.
Well, hold on. Look, I'm thinking in my head logistically. Either they know
Your
they're gonna try and.
Conspiracy theories getting railroaded.
Did he think he was going
Still
to
counts.
get the money before he knew Brian was safe to come save Brian? So before he helped his friend, he was stashing money in his pocket? Because Brian does the same thing. Brian
Well,
has money in his pockets too. And they wouldn't
each
have done
car had money, right? So the car that
Yeah.
was on the boat would have had money in it, so they could have essentially stuffed their pockets at that point before the boat actually came back to dock.
They would have had to have done it at the garage with all the other cars there,
Yeah.
right? Because otherwise, Agent Fuentes was holding a shotgun on Verone, and she would have been like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, hook yourself to that money that I'm supposed to confiscate afterwards."
I was like, "Oh, I left my 2003 flip phone in the car. I'll be right back."
Right? And it's only when they say that they're going to clear Roman and Paul Walker's characters that he goes back and grabs the other bag. Wasn't
Yeah.
Agent Fuentes the one who put the bags in the cars for them? So she's like, where's the other half of the money?
No.
What? No, she
No.
wasn't there, right? Because
No,
they
that
got
was
that
at
from
the
the house.
yeah, the trailer house is where they picked up the cash.
Picked it up at the trailer house. Gotcha. She wasn't there. Okay.
But for some reason, they wouldn't search all of these vehicles that are destroyed, like right next to the crime scene either.
Yeah. Interesting.
But then, yeah,
So counting that as conspiracy
Weird.
theory number 3, and that is that the Brian and Roman stole the money much earlier in the movie. Like
That was their
during the car
getaway.
swap.
They have to have a getaway, right? What would they call it? An escape plan? It wasn't an
yeah.
escape plan.
The cigar
was
cutter
their
was
exit
actually just a
plan.
red herring. They stole the money from Carter's safe that first visit, and they've been
Oh,
carrying it in their pockets this whole time.
Nice.
That was part of that was why they had that. You know, it's coming back to me now. That they went and looked at that warehouse with all the garages because they needed an exit plan.
Mm-hmm.
There
They
you
just
go.
ended up using it for the actual thing.
And I feel like if you were going to steal money, I feel like you just have a bag go missing into a different vehicle, or like leave one with Tej. Like leave a bag of cash with Tej.
Yeah.
But
Mutual
Nope.
respect, or whatever he says earlier.
yeah, something like that.
but yes, that takes us to the end of the film.
A quick item that I noticed some product placements. I mentioned Pepsi during the first race. The racer runs into a Pepsi logo, giant Pepsi sign. Snap-on tools are not only the logo shown, but he says like, "Oh, is this Tej's garage? It's all fixed up with Snap-on tools and lifts." And I was like, "Oh, that's a pretty good product placement."
They're only a couple
drop.
months old.
Yeah. Year 1 must be some sort of car restoration, and then the Sparko seats. But
Smart.
I always enjoy product placement in old movies.
There's definitely a lot of car parts and manufacturers stuff in throughout the film.
Yeah. So, Steven, who do you want to survive? Who are you rooting for the next movie? Who you thinking you're going to see in the next movie?
Apparently, I'm going to see Paul Walker again, and I'm going to see Dad Cop. So Paul Walker, Dad Cop, and Rome are going to be back.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't even know
Villain?
the name.
Do we get
of...
the villain?
Ooh. I'm going to say Matthew McConaughey is going to come back in like 2 movies or 3 movies.
2 movies. 2 movies we see Matthew McConaughey. Okay.
Amanda, what do you think?
I assume we're going back to the characters of the first movie plus Paul Walker and Roman. That's my assumption because it sounds like this one's just an outlier. But I'm totally doing this from comments. You guys are pretty good about trying not to give away any spoilers. But just from what I've picked up, I'm assuming it's that. But who knows? As Steven says, Paul Walker's a pretty safe bet.
How about Tej or
Oh
lady
yes,
with the
yes. No,
with
I
the,
do know Ludacris is there. I did
Suki.
get excited to see him. I know Ludacris comes
Luda.
back.
Luda.
Luda. All right, I'll quickly.
Oh, speaking of Luda, did anyone else find that the escalation of Luda and Suki's relationship seemed like it jumped into like light speed? Like in the first race, it's like, yeah, you check under your hood. And he's like, oh no, it's cool. And then it's like they're boyfriend girlfriend the rest of the movie.
That double entendre game works.
I
but
thought they
don't-
were just
I don't agree
friends.
with that. I
I
agree.
thought it was playful banter.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
a lot of double entendres though.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
Any
quickly.
other?
Well, I'm going to read off the review I gave it way back in 2015. So
Oof.
10 years.
now I feel old. So reference here, I gave this 2 stars. 2 terrible, 2 stars. This is
Again,
definitely
out of 5 or out of 10?
5. Yeah, out of 5. Yes,
5. Okay.
Everything is ranked out of 5 stars for me. No half stars
That's
either.
fair.
But this is definitely a skippable movie. I could only recommend really watching it if you really need to see all the films in the franchise, or it's some afternoon that you're doing things around the house, and this is the only movie that's on to play in the background noise. Thankfully, the films only get better from here, or do they? Question mark.
Dun dun dun.
Such
And then-
hate.
So,
If you have
Tyler,
nothing
did
else
it gain a half star in your
don't-
rewatch?
I don't do half
Still don't like it.
stars.
Still 2
It
stars.
doesn't do half stars. It'd have to gain a
Don't
whole
do half
star.
star.
So
Well,
you
let's
rounded
do that.
up to
Let's do
another
that.
full star. All right.
Real quick,
Well,
we all just rewatched it. I think both Amanda and I have said several times that we came into this movie with very low expectations, and because of that, we enjoyed the movie. What about you guys? What did your opinion change on the movie? Like what Tyler was just saying, did your guys' opinion change?
So thinking back to the first movie and kind of rewatching it, and to me, this was similar in terms of like it. If you've seen it enough, it just kind of washes over you. And even the first movie, as hearing you guys talk about it, and like, oh man, the twist, and like, oh yeah, thinking about it, yeah, the twist is actually very well hidden in that movie. Like, didn't give it enough credit. This movie, I feel like I had as much credit for it as it deserved going in. It's fine. It's not amazing. It has some interesting twists. I liked it has some fun scenes with like the mass car exodus from the garage. It has some also very stupid moments with the Oasis stuff and things like that. So I mean, it's pros and cons. It's fine. It's a fine B movie.
I'm still holding true to it's a solid C+. It's not absolute garbage, but it's it's not going to change the way you view life.
I would say it's a C+. It's a C plus B minus. It is definitely not an A movie. Definitely not great. But compared to 1 and 3, I think it's a better movie. And then as it goes down the line, they jump the shark a little bit. And this one at least attempts to be like a buddy cop movie. And I enjoy the comedy of it. I think that they lose comedy over a while, and Vin Diesel does not make a movie funnier. Vin Diesel makes a movie more brooding and just annoying.
Serious?
Less Vin Diesel makes this movie better.
Do you not like Vin Diesel?
I do not think that Dom is a likable character. Like you said, he's not a likable character. He's just not. I think I put a pin in it. It's that this movie is better because Dom's not in it. I'm just hurting Tyler's soul. And
For the
that's-
listening audience, I have been shaking my head the entire time Gary has basically been talking here.
For the tone of this movie, less Dom is better. I don't know if less Dom makes a better Fast and Furious movie, but for this movie, I have to agree with Gary.
Knowing absolutely nothing about most of the rest of the movies, I am curious if we will see Gary's opinion change on the rewatch for the rest of these or not.
That also, like, this is a movie that, as I said, like the first two are definitely heavily syndicated because they're PG-13 movies, and they had some name recognition. After that, I think I didn't have cable. By the time 3 and 4 came to syndication, I don't think I had cable anymore.
So, to my opinions on the movie here, I will say this rewatch improved slightly, but I kind of sort of agree of like this is still definitely a movie of its time and place, and I still don't think that highly of it compared to my feelings on the rest of the series. My review still kind of holds true there that this is just you don't have to watch this movie to when you watch later Fast and the Furious movies here to kind of get what's going on.
I wholeheartedly disagree. There are characters that are introduced in this movie that make the later movies better. Specifically,
Nope.
Okay, so you know the characters I'm talking about. You don't like them in the later movies. Like those movies would be better without them. I'm gonna set a flag in the ground, and it's that Tyler hates everything about these characters in later movies.
Nope.
Flag in the ground. Tyler hates them.
No.
I will revisit that along with Tyler once we get to those movies, because I will argue that these are hardly the same characters that we see in those movies.
Yes. 100% there.
Apparently, Matthew McConaughey is going to go through a lot of changes.
That's right.
Yes.
He turns out to be. No, I'm gonna even make that joke. gonna leave that joke behind.
Vin Diesel returns and says, "I brought a friend," and the lights kick on. And it's, all right, all right, all right.
Yeah. But I will, Gary, I do kind of see your side of this being a completely tonally different movie than the rest of them, and the buddy action to it or whatever. I get that from this, but my opinions still don't really improve on this movie compared to earlier rewatches of it.
This is definitely a smaller ensemble cast than latter movies that get to be a much larger ensemble. So it's a much tonally different and also just a much more like, obviously the story that's played out of their friendship and forgiveness isn't greatly written, but it's still, I like it a little better. Because there's not like, in later movies I'll go back to, are there just like paint on the wall characters that exist in those movies? Like characters that literally have very few lines. Steven will definitely not remember their names. Like there
doesn't
are
remember names
very
already.
What?
He doesn't remember the names already.
Yeah. So,
Steven knows like 10 actors and actresses, and just closest
just
to
renames them.
thinking
They're
of.
either typecast.
Mhm.
Yes, I feel like latter movies have very like forgettable background ensemble characters. Like this movie had a much tighter ensemble, and it I think it added to it compared to later movies.
Guys, I think this movie was too fast and too furious.
Oh,
It's not a good, terrible joke either.
Steven acting a fool.
Yeah, man. So that basically wraps it up for this movie here. I don't know if anyone caught it, but there was no end credit scene for this movie here.
I
so.
looked for it.
I
When you
did too.
mentioned there was one in the last one, which I did not stick around for, I did stick around in this one, and there was nothing, and I was disappointed.
Mhm.
I sat there skipping through it because I was like, I'm not gonna watch this entire thing. Like I kept skipping ahead a few seconds, like so far at a time, and
Tyler, do they come back until like latter movies? I assume it's around the Avengers era that.
I do know they come
don't
back
know.
in later ones. I can't recall.
I
which
know there
ones
was
specifically.
one at the end of 5, I think. So
The one movie you saw in theaters, Amanda.
I remember that there was an end credit series. That's all I
guys,
got.
we gotta stay. We gotta stay. We can't leave yet, guys. We gotta stay.
Look at all these idiots getting up and leaving. They don't even know.
So everybody good with where we're at with this movie here? Ready to wrap up the podcast here? Thumbs up from Gary, shaking heads here. All right. So for
Two
next
down.
time here, we are moving on to the third movie, and we're going in release order. We are watching The Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift.
Yeah! My English teacher from high school would be so happy with us right now.
Because you
Is
said
this-
colon.
This is the one movie you watched,
It's the one you
right?
watched.
This
Or
is the one that I have
watched.
seen portions of because yes, it was my football coach or the football coach of the high school, and this was our English class. So we watched Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and that's why my words are so fantibulous.
Floor. Expectations are on the floor. Just
Gary heading into this movie. Got it.
We have so many
I-
different opinions
so
about
far.
these movies. I don't know who to trust. Like
Right?
Gary says, the last one was amazing, so put your expectations low. And Tyler says opposite. I don't know.
I will say, I'm not saying get your expectations up for this movie, but I think this is better than 2.
My guess is that I can nudge them a little higher than 2, but I should really keep it down. And I highly recommend it because then you're actually able to enjoy the movie a lot better.
okay, so now we have
Yeah.
a standing question. Is 3 better than 2? Like that's I really want to know the answer because I do not like 3. But we will find out next time.
I don't
On Dragon
remember
Ball
if I've
Z.
I don't remember if I've seen 3 all the way through, so I've got a little bit of a blank slate going into it as well.
You have to drift with us.
Adrift.
I'm just looking forward to my what I remember of Tokyo Drift. Like,
Yes, that reminds me. For the listening audience here, Gary is taking it upon himself to do what he remembers of the movies in a short audio clip, which I am including at the end of every podcast. So please stay tuned to listen for that quality gem there.
3 Fast, 3 Furious.
All right. Anything else we want to touch on here, guys? Are we good to close out the podcast? Looks like we're
We're good.
All right. So that'll do it for us this episode here. We want to thank everybody for listening, and we hope you have a good one.
Bye.
after the events of the first Fast and the Furious movie, Brian is now in trouble with the law. The only way he has to get out is to help the FBI catch a drug trafficker. To achieve this goal, he will enlist the assistance of his childhood friend, who is on probation and applying his trade in the demolition derby. He meets Monica, second in command for a drug kingpin, but secretly working for the FBI. He works with Tej to earn his street cred in the Miami underground. He took part in an overly complicated heist involving switching cars. Foiled by the Kingpin, who only tells Monica the wrong drop-off location. Realizing betrayal, he kidnaps Monica. Brian jumps a car onto a boat, Dukes of Hazzard style. Brian and Roman give back the last bag of money, but their pockets aren't empty.